You're listening to the Business of Medicine podcast created by Mirazi. We are a medical co-working space located in Upper Hill, the heartbeat of healthcare in Nairobi.
Welcome back to the Business of Medicine podcast brought to you by Mirazi. Now, if you're back here listening to us, then that means that you probably like us. And we cannot thank you enough for showing us love on this podcast. We realized in medicine, at least throughout my career, that there are very many interesting career and business stories. And the idea behind this podcast is to tell those stories, to share those stories, and to preserve them. Today, on our episode, we have Dr. Naphtali Macharia, who pretty much almost introduces himself, and I'll allow him to do that. I'm your host, JP, and I'm here with Alan. Naf, karibu sana.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
My name is Naphtali Macharia. I'm a dental implant surgeon, co-founder and CEO, the Dental Spa, a dental clinic in Chiromo, along Riverside Drive.
Thank you, Naf. I think we met probably about 3-4 years ago.
Yes.
It was an event that Mirazi was hosting, and I'll never forget meeting you that day because we were talking and you were talking to me about social media and you could not stop talking about TikTok. I wasn't on TikTok, but then I was like, why is this guy always talking about TikTok? And you explained that to me. And, I hope during this episode, we're going to get into that. But every hero has an origin story.
For sure.
And I want us to just get into where the Naf story started. Okay. You almost did BCom. Thank God you didn't. Maybe you can start a little there as we work our way up towards the rest of your fantastic story.
Proper background check, yeah? Yeah, so I almost did BCom. So when I finished high school, I went to Kiambu High School. So when I finished high school, I got an A, but it was not 84. So I could not get into dentistry via the regular program. So I got an offer letter from UN, but for BCom. So what happened is my heart was really not there.
Yeah.
From when I was in high school, so many seeds had already been planted in me to go the dentistry way, the medicine way from the start. And that's where my heart really was. So yeah, it wasn't going to be cheap. It's very expensive to train a doctor parallel, yeah? It's $500,000 per year, 5 years. So that's probably 2.5 M. And I knew that my mom will not be able to afford that. So it was really tough. So I went ahead, talked to my uncle. We were trying to figure out how we could raise this money to go to dentistry parallel. First thing I did, I went and applied. Of course, I'd saved some little coins here and there. So I came to UN all the way from Kijabe. I come from Kijabe. So I went to UN. So I knew my mom was not going to afford taking me to school because my dad had died a few years back. I have two older brothers. So she's a primary school teacher. So there was no way of raising this money. So I went and talked to my uncle. So I tell him that, hey, uncle, I actually really want to do dentistry. And I really need to do dentistry. That's where my heart is. And I don't know how we're going to raise this money. I don't know if tunaweza kopa pahali and then we'll pay back when I finish school. Either there's a lot of money when you finish school. There's
Shock on you.
Definitely not a lot of money. So I don't know what touched him. So him and my mom figured out how they're going to take me through dental school. So they decided they'll be taking alternate loans every year. So my mom would pay for 1 year, then he would pay the other year so that one recovers and then the other one does the following year until now I finish school. So that's what happened. I am here because of them. So that's how I went to dental school and that's how I ended up doing dentistry.
So there's something that you said right on from the beginning that there were seeds that were planted.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in knowing, like, what was that? Who are there people who motivated you, or what really drove you towards picking dentistry and not medicine like us?
Okay. So now what happened is I actually wanted to do medicine. I grew up in Kijabe. Kijabe is a mission center. So everything there is by the church. So it's an AIC Kijabi hospital, AIC Kijabi primary school. My mom teaches there. So that big hospital there, and there's a lot of people who work in the hospital there. So the influence around you from everyone who's around you, maybe your neighbor is a nurse, your Sunday school teacher is a doctor, the person who's selling you at the kiosk is married to someone who works in the hospital. So there's a lot of influence around you to go into a healthcare career. So I was in a youth group when I was growing up. At first Sunday school, then teenage group, then youth group. And our leader used to be a clinical community oral health officer, they're called cohorts. So she used to be our leader. So she used to push me. She would be like, lakini medicine unataka kufanya achana nayo, just do dentistry. I work at the dental clinic. She promised me money. She told me by the time that I'm going to start working, we'll be earning in 6 figures.
Are you?
So, so she told me that. So I was like, okay, let me now start considering this. So when I was in high school, I used to write on my books. At first I wanted to be a pediatric cardiologist, and I would actually manifest that. I would write that on top of my books, Form 1 and Form 2. But then when I got to Form 3, she had totally convinced me to do dentistry. And during that, one of the holidays, she took me in as a volunteer at the dental clinic there. So I actually liked it. So I decided that I'm going to do dentistry. And that changed, and I started writing on top of my book now. Orthodontist, a doctor for braces, Dr. Naphtali Macharia. I started manifesting back then. So that's how. So when I finished school, missed by a point to get to regular. That's how I ended up now doing dentistry.
Fantastic. Quite interesting. Are you still in contact with her?
Oh yeah, I see her every day.
Oh,
I mean, every time I go to Kijabi.
Every time I
go to Kijabi. She's our neighbor. She's married to our church pastor. Yeah.
And why didn't you go back to Kijabi?
I know. I feel like if you stay in one place, you'll not grow. You'll not be open. So I felt like if I stayed, they actually offered me a job at one point, but I felt like if I go back home, I'll be in such a comfort zone. Life is cheap there. I'll never really push myself. I'll just have to wake up, live next to the hospital. Never really do a lot for myself. I just wanted to grow wings. Also, when you grow older, you want to move away from your parents.
Nairobi is such a jungle. I feel like it really pushes you to to think quite outside the box and gets you out of your comfort zone really fast, like once you're done.
It really does.
So you finished dental school and then you got into internship at a very tricky time. I believe it was just before COVID?
Right before COVID. Because you only did 4 months of internship, then COVID struck.
And you can't be looking down people's mouths during COVID.
We were the first clinics that were closed. Do you remember? The dental clinics were the first ones that were closed.
So it killed your dream. You packed up everything and went back.
Unfortunately, I did my internship at Defense Forces Memorial. So we started September 2019. We did 4-5 months, and then March, that's when COVID came. So when COVID came, we stopped for a month. And then they started bringing PPE. People said we could handle emergency cases, people with toothache. We started doing those emergency cases. But then we really didn't get to do much after that. But the first 6 months, we really did train a lot. It was a very good internship center. They have everything, which is good, which is what I wish that every other public hospital would have. You get to do everything there. Like whatever you didn't do in school, you'll do it at Memorial. They have everything. They have really good supervisors. So the first 6-7 months were okay. Even the last ones, even if we didn't do much, at least in the first couple of months we had covered a lot.
Fantastic. And then now tell us about the shift. I understand that at that time, yes, there was the 6 months you did. Or so
6-7 months.
And then now, were you required to finish because you have to do a whole year?
We actually did finish. Even if it was slow, we did finish. We had the thing with Memorial that they had a lot of patients. So you kind of have filled your logbooks way earlier. So towards the last few stages, you're just winding up. polishing up, becoming better.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your next move after internship? And first of all, I understand, like, during our time, we are slightly older. During our time, you'd finish your internship and automatically
get
posted elsewhere.
Yeah.
Was that the experience with you, or?
No. Ever since the devolution came in, after they devolved healthcare, that stopped. Yeah. So it was up to the mandate of the governor and whoever is in charge of the county government to now pick people to come and work for them. So when I finished, immediately, one of my lecturers asked me towards the end of internship, like, what are you doing? I told her, I'm just winding up an internship. I have no plan. I'm just going to try and get a job. So she told me that she's opening a clinic at Consolata. And it's a new facility from ground up, yeah. And she wanted me to work with her because she used to like my work in school. She was still a lecturer, so she needed someone to actually really stay there full time. So I told her, yeah, I'm available. Yeah. So I told her I just need to take like 2-3 weeks break after internship, then get back into it. So by the time I was starting, the clinic was starting, I was now ready to also start. This is now October 2020. So that was my first job after internship. So we got into it. The clinic was just being set up. They were just finished here and there. I used to stay in the clinic. I would receive her orders. I would countersign things for her because we were just starting. Literally, there were no dental materials. The dental seats had been brought when I was there. But yeah, COVID came, no employment, so also the money was going to be a bit on the lower side.
Not a 6-figure salary like you had been promised.
Yeah. So what happened? You remember internship used to get a good stipend. So she told me it's a new clinic and she can't afford to pay me what the starting salary should be. But she's going to give me a certain amount of money. I think it was around 100 or something, or just right below that. Then she told me in 3 months' time, if it picks up, then I'm going to pay you percentage. Percentage in dentistry is actually good because if you bill $1 million in a month and you're on 30-40%, you'll get your 300-400, which is good. So yeah, we agreed that we didn't sign anything. Because she was like my mom in Nairobi. I trusted her from school. So that's how I got into that job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. What happened after that?
So we are now in this clinic. We don't have clients. It's COVID.
This is still 2020.
October 2020.
2020.
October 2020.
2020 October you've started.
Yes, we've started.
The construction has been completed.
Just ended, yes.
Okay, now let's go.
First patient we see in November. My brother. That's the first patient we see. And then after that we see only 2 more that month. So now you see she had taken a loan for her clinic. She now has to pay rent as well. She has to pay me and the one nurse that she had brought. So I could see it's taking a toll on her. So December, of course, people are a bit open to spending a bit. So we maybe saw 10 or so patients in December. Then we got into January and we saw 3 or 4 patients. But then I like to practice. I like to do things. So I started to feel like, maybe I need to look for another job. Because again, I can see the strain on her. But then you remember COVID, TikTok came. It used to be called Musical.ly before that. Then right before COVID changed to TikTok.
Did you know?
No, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it used to be called Musical.ly.
Our age is showing.
It used to be called Musical.ly. So then it changed to TikTok right before COVID. And then it blew up during COVID. So for that whole year, people had all over the world, people had lost jobs. People had become very innovative and creative. And they were sharing these stories on TikTok. You could see someone is a nurse in the US. They've gotten married to maybe a boxer in the US. Now they're making content about how to survive COVID. All of a sudden, they have moved to a nice mansion because TikTok was paying them. It was blowing up. People would share stories. I was a bartender. I got fired when COVID came. Now all of a sudden, I have my own restaurant. I have a menu for my cocktails. People are buying from me, asking me to deliver all over the world. That's how it started. And then people were doing a lot of dance challenges. And so the visibility on TikTok was really good. So I was like, maybe we should try get into TikTok, see if we can get a couple of clients from there. But she was very reserved about it. She was married to the then president of the Kenya Dental Association. So I guess she maybe she didn't want to brand herself like that. She didn't maybe want her clinic to go on social media, because the older guys are still very skeptical about social media. So she, at first, total resistance, totally refused. So then like, okay, so me and my nurse, we would just sit there, and there was nothing to do, so we'd be on TikTok all the time. So I told her one day, she's called Cindy, Cindy, can we just do a dance? Cindy was like, yeah, okay, there's nothing else we're doing, let's do a challenge. So we did one of the challenges that was going on that time. This is now March 2021. The first video we did, we clocked like 200,000 views.
Oh, wow.
Our first video ever on TikTok. So now guys started asking on our comments, hey, is this Kenya? Is this whatever, what's happening here? So we would tell them, this is the number, we are dentists, we're in this place, come. So the numbers started growing from just one video. We started seeing like maybe 15, 20 patients per month.
That is how long after the video?
2-3 weeks after the video, even a week after, because people call and then they book for a week before or something like that. Yeah. And then again, the thing with social media is that even if you post today, you don't expect to convert today.
Yeah, exactly.
If you do that, you're going to feel terribly, and you're going to feel very anxious and depressed about it. It's consistency. People will save your video, and they will remember 3-4 months down the line, there's some dentist I see online. And if you're always on their face, you'll always be the one that comes up first. In a social gathering, they will talk about meno, and then they'll be like, there's this guy we see on TikTok and Instagram. That's how. But then how do they know about you? Because you've been very consistent. So we kept on doing videos and videos and videos. So she saw how the growth was, and she was very amazed by it. So she was like, you remember that other time she had given me like half pay cut from our internship money? So she was like, now I've seen what the clinic has done. Someone sent her a video one day. She was like, you guys are on TikTok. She didn't even know about that. We're like, no, I have a video. So we told her, yeah, we are on TikTok. So one day we told her, is that why? She asked us, is that why the numbers have grown? We told her, yes, that's why the numbers have grown. Then we just asked us, you do a video with us? And she's like, So we kept on pestering, and then she accepted one day. So this is around April, mid-April. So we did a video with her. Nice dance challenge. We clocked 500,000 views.
Oh, wow.
The thing with social media, it's also in the captions and stirring emotions. So we were like, we don't even know how we've convinced our director. That was the caption. Many people liked it and watched it. So now she was so amazed. The following day she came to work. She didn't do anything. She just sat on TikTok and just reading the comments. This one we used to go to school with. Is that the reach? Is that how many people we can reach via social media? So now her mind became open. She's like, that thing you're telling me about social media, I think I am open to doing it now. So let's go ahead and do it. So unfortunately, 2 weeks later, she died. Sudden death, like out of nowhere. So she passed on, and that was now, she was supposed to be my mentor. She was supposed to like guide me in Nairobi and all these things. You know how it works, yeah. So that was a blow for me. So this time now, Kijabi comes, tells me, we've heard through your mom what has happened. Would you like to come and work in Kijabi? But then I was like, if I leave, this clinic is so young. It's now 6-7 months old. We've really branded on social media. They will close. So I just didn't feel like it's the right time to do it. So I said I'll stay behind. So that really pushed me to now go big on social media. So one day I went to a joint on Kiambu Road, and I saw Jalango. At that point, he was the number one influencer. He was doing Jalango TV. So he was really big. So I told my friends, I'm going to go talk to that guy, tell him what has happened, my story, and see if he can help us market. Approached him, told him, we are madaktari, nini. Can you help us? But then I use that title, it opens doors for me. It does. So I like, doctor, so now he got interested by this guy talking to me. So I told him what has happened, nini, I need help with marketing. He said, okay. He just said, okay. I don't know what touched him. He just said, okay, and he'll come and help. So he took my number, I took his number. He said he'll come the following week. Unfortunately, he didn't come the following week. I tried to call him, he didn't go through. I was like, I meant to washer.
At least you tried.
But you shot your shot.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen?
What's the worst that can happen? So, but me, I'm very persistent and I'll pester you so much. So I kept on texting him and texting him and texting him. So I texted him and pushed him so much. And then one day he just told me, hey, where are you? Are you in the clinic? I'm coming. So he shows up. He likes the clinic. He buys into the story. And he posts on social media. And then we do a TikTok with him. We garnered like 2.3 million views. From that point, I grew from like 8,000 followers on TikTok to around 80 on something. From 4,000 followers on Instagram to around 12,000 or something.
Wow.
And now, just one post from him, he was really influential. And I really thank God I met him. So from there now, we kept on pushing and pushing. The numbers are growing. But then remember, I had not signed a contract because I trusted. So the new management came in. So we told them what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to go on percentage now, increase the salary when the clinic breaks even. They refused. They didn't treat me really well. And they didn't believe in social media. They were a bit elitist on social media. They're like, we can't do social media. I mean, we are doctors and stuff like that. So that's where now I started the idea of I need now to open my own practice. But then back in uni, I met a guy. It's called Johnny. He's my best friend. So we had talked about opening a clinic in our early 30s, mid 30s. We grow a clientele first, then we go into our own practice. So we would always talk about these things all the time. Like we meet, tunaongea ile clinic yetu bado tunafungua, and we would plan. But then, so now when this now started happening, these guys are not treating me right. I started telling Johnny, I feel like I have so much social capital and social leverage. I think we can actually open a clinic and we will get clients. So he's like, hey, okay, Sawa, how much do you think we need to set up a practice? So I told him, I have all the details from the other place that I used to work because I used to receive all the documents. I think I know how much you need to set up a clinic. And if we want a good clinic, how much it will cost us. And that would have costed us around 6 to 8 M. Okay? I'm just 1 year fresh from internship. I really do not have this money anywhere. No parents to give us this money. So it's up to us to raise 6 to 9 M. Yeah. So I just bought my car on loan. So I had gotten a really good relationship manager at the bank. So I went back to them and asked them, this is how much I earn. How much do you think you guys can give me? So they were like, with whatever you have, max 2 point something, 3 point something. I was like, okay.
Hold on. This is with the salary that you are earning, the half salary. Was
Yeah.
it half still?
It was still half.
So half salary that you're earning from this other clinic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were like, took the pay slip, wakaangalia what they can, whatever. I think they're a bit more favorable to doctors. I don't know.
That's the question I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Like, had they asked you the purpose of the money?
No.
They didn't ask.
Yeah. Okay. The relationship manager knew. Yeah. I told them what I wanted to do with it.
Okay.
Yeah. But then now, Johnny wasn't banking with them. Johnny was banking with another bank. But then for him, it was going to be a bit easier because the aunts worked in one of the banks and she knew how to get around and she gave him good advice. So we were like, we both need around 4 M to set up this practice. I'm 26 at that point. Yeah, 26, 27. We were definitely not getting this money from anywhere. So the bank gave us the money. And also we had saved a bit from the circles. We got some from there. Savings ilikuwa kidogo. We had not worked for long. Again, it was half salary. So it was basically funded by the bank and loans. Yeah, our clinic was fully funded by the bank and loans. So we got the money. This is now September 2022.
I think that in itself is already a big leap because by the time you've decided you're going to leave the comfort of employment to start your own thing, I feel like it's such a huge barrier, especially for guys in the healthcare space, because we tend to be a little bit more risk averse kind of thing. But kuruka at that age, is something that is not very common. Like you had a gut feeling that this thing was going to work out, or it was just kama mbaya.
It was a gut feeling na kama mbaya. Kwa sababu the other thing is, again, I value data a lot. I used to wake up and I would get 10-15 people have DM'd me and are asking me, I have toothache, where can I come? My child has broken a tooth while playing, can we come to you? Because people knew of me on social media.
So what percentage would you say converted?
The guys who would ask, they would actually come. Because we said seeing almost per month in the other clinic, would see almost 60, 70, 80 patients. You understand? Even at one point I told these guys that we actually need to order a dentist. I'll die here. Like working alone, it's too much. The demand is too high. And guys were actually buying into whatever we were doing on social media. So they actually added even a dentist. So I was like, every single day I would wake up and say, I'm not being paid well yet. I'm putting my name on the line out there. It's my reputation. It's my brand. I am pushing so much and I'm not making money from it really. So the only way to make money from that was either to become an influencer and influence products or actually open a clinic and influence the clinic. And I believe that I didn't think it was a bubble because it was consistent. It's like 5, 6, 7 months. Every single day you're waking up to people asking you about teeth and trying to come to see you. And you can see that in the clinic they're actually coming. So it's like, if we do this and we do it better and in a large scale, if we open a practice, we'll be able to actually see even more when we are 2 of us.
Okay.
So you had proof of concept early on.
For sure. You take risks, but you need to be very calculated.
So now you have the cash.
Yeah.
Umetoa loan kwa bank.
Yeah.
Aya.
Tumenunua vitu China.
Did you make the trip there?
No, we just talked to someone. I used to know someone who used to supply the other clinic.
Oh, okay.
I've never met her. We only talk on WhatsApp. We call her dear because she always says, hi dear, hi dear. So we texted hi dear. We told her we need a quote for these dental seats, 2 dental seats, an autoclave machine, an implant motor, an x-ray machine. How much would that cost us? That cost us almost half our money. Wow. Yeah. Those things cost almost half our money.
And this is before you had the office?
We don't even have an office at this point.
Okay.
Because the office we wanted to remain in Westlands because I'd seen it's very accessible and there's good market around there for guys who want to pay cash. So the office that we were getting was too close to the other clinic and that would have not been nice.
Bad blood.
Yeah, bad blood, yeah. So we decided to move a bit further away. So we looked in Westlands. When we went to, I think, the mall or something, they said there's a dentist here. They can't put another dentist here. I think there are those contracts. So now I just remembered when we were in uni, they were building an office park next to Metro. Let me just go check. So we went to check. So those guys, we only needed 1,000 square feet because we just wanted a small clinic, 2 units. So those people were giving 5,000, 6,000 square feet. So we were like, tutapata hapa. Now this is what happened. So I went to the guy. Again, may go and just knock doors and just tell them. So I went to Knight Frank and I told them, look guys, this space is empty. It's been, you guys say it's been empty since COVID. Like, simtukatie tu. Because there's no need this space ikae empty. People are not taking office space. We just need a small space there. We need around 1,000. So they say they can't cut 1,000. The minimum they can, and they've never done that before, but they'll do that for us, is 1,500. The rent we had planned was around like 100. That was going to double to 200 plus per month. So now, already now has a way to inaharibika. So me and Johnny, we look at that place, and then just intuition tells us this office space is in the right place. It's very accessible. We have now enough to even expand if we grow. Let's just take it and take that risk. So we took 1,500 square feet, and now we set up. So the other almost 3/4 of the money now goes to setting up, because we needed the place to look nice. Because on social media, what sells is nice things. That's the thing. That's the thing on Instagram. We just have to accept that. If people buy bags from a certain page, it's because that page, there's a way they put their bags to look like and everything. Yeah. So we needed the clinic to look really nice. Nice gypsum, nice tiles, nice walls, nice furniture. And that's how now we ended up setting up the clinic.
From what I gather, COVID worked to your advantage.
It did, yeah,
right?
100%, yeah.
Because you were able to negotiate your space.
Yeah.
It introduced you to TikTok. So from what I gather, COVID worked to your advantage.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, you got to negotiate rental space at the time.
Yeah.
Something that doesn't happen often.
For sure.
TikTok blew up during COVID.
Did, yeah.
And also I think for you, also it created an opportunity for you for your first job.
It did, yeah.
From what, again, I gather, that first job created a lot of lessons from you. So, for example, like you got your first, or rather your supplies, you got it from someone from Dia. From Dia. I find that one, it's interesting that during COVID time, there were guys who really thought that that's the wrong time to start any business.
For sure, yeah.
But also I find it interesting that I think you're a very smart person, because there are those things that you carried along with you on your journey from the first first time. But one of the other questions, or rather one of the questions I have for you is, why did you pick Johnny? Like we know it is advised sometimes that it's not a good thing to work with friends or start a business with friends.
Yeah.
And people who say that have legitimate reasons. What are these values that you look for in a business partner?
Yeah. So first of all, like, I remember I was telling you about how much money it would have cost us to set up the clinic. There was no way of raising that alone. That young. Maybe if I had worked for a couple of years, maybe I would have been able to negotiate for something like that and start alone. But now we are doing it. We pushed back and we said, like, we need to do it now. So definitely a partnership was one of the options, and we had already decided talking about opening a clinic with him. So when we met in school, you can tell from someone's character and behavior. He is a reliable person. He's trustworthy, and he's very hardworking as well. Very smart and very hardworking. So in my mind, unless something happens that he really changes and becomes someone, you also have friends and you can tell, this one I can do biashara with, this one. He's my boys, I love him, but siwezi. So him, I knew he's a reliable guy, and I can do business with him, and I knew he's not going to change. So I was okay with doing business with him.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
How many years in are you now?
The clinic, we just turned one last month.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we opened last year in Feb. Yeah.
One of the things I feel really has really worked for you in the social media space has been your authenticity.
Yeah.
You just pick up your camera and like you go, and it comes out very well. And I remember there's a time you did, it was an Instagram story.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the business journey for you and Johnny.
Yeah.
I think that day I might have inboxed you and I was like, look, we have to do something with this.
Yeah,
and there's a part in the story you were talking about Dia and how you had procured the stuff from China, and then I don't know if there was some issues or it came and you didn't have anywhere to take them.
Yes.
And then you guys were like, tell us a bit about that, because we were talking about Dia.
Exactly. So this is what happened. So we bought, when we got the money from the bank, the first thing we did, because we thought that things would take so long to come, is we paid for the things in China. So we just asked for an invoice and how should we pay for these things. And then we just paid a couple of millions to Dia, and we never met her. So to a company there that she works for. So in like 3 days, she sends a shipping whatever. So our things were put in kwa meli. They were put in the ship. So they were being brought. So we thought it would take like 60 days. Again, we thought that in those 60 days, we'll have an office space. The contractor will have set up, and then they'll just come and we'll put them there. But now we don't have office space. Tumeka more than a month to bila office space. Tulishalipa China. So we have no office space. So when we get the contractor, he says it's going to take like 60 days as well to finish fit out. So we wanted to open 1st of January, because even I resigned in December and I wanted to go right into working so that I can get money to pay my loan, because I had no salary at that point. I had emptied my savings. I was on zero bob, because now I had to use all the money to try and do all these things. So now the things got to Kenya and we didn't have space. We didn't know where to put them. So Junior said, "Sasa tutafanya tutazeka kwa nyumba zetu." We don't even have money to pay for like a space. to where we can put them. So luckily, like the guy who was now in Kenya, he said, so tukazieka, and then he said, later on he said, we can put them for you for 2 weeks. So we had already gotten them, and then he took them back again. So we got some place to keep them. Now contract had already started, and he was taking his sweet time, and he had seen guys that angegonga. So he started changing quotes midway. He's now adding almost 1 million, which we do not have. It was terrible. So that was terrible. So now at one point I remember we had to like try and talk to like our aunts, our siblings, to see if they can give us something small so that we can finish set up and so that we can start working, because now I didn't know where else to go or where else to ask for money. Yeah, so at that point it was really, really tough. But then my aunt gave me some few coins, so we chipped on. Johnny got some few coins as well, and now we were able to finish. And then now we set up and open. So what I knew is that if we were going to open, everyone has to know that we are opening, because why are we opening a shop and we can't? So me, I told Johnny, even if we don't have money, we'll speak to our friends, social capital. We'll have someone to come and do deco for us. We'll get a DJ that we know. We'll get an MC that we know. And then the other thing that no one will ever charge us is that ability to post online, unless you take our accounts away. So we launched, we went big. We had already created our fuss. So I have a friend of mine, she's really good in marketing. So I asked her, so I've resigned. Abu, walk me through how we can create a whole fuss. So we started talking about, I've resigned, I have no job, I'm quitting dentistry. Guys are now interested in, like, what do you think is the next step? Guys are guessing. The interactions were all-time high.
Kuna chocha.
So interactions were all-time high. Kabisa. So now everyone wants to know, Naf ameacha kuwa huko, he's not practicing dentistry for almost a month or 2. What's happening? So now we launched. We posted. Like, remember we did on Twitter, we got like 600,000 reach. On Instagram, it went viral as well. Everyone was reposting us. So I feel like in Nairobi that day, everyone knew a clinic has been opened. And that was the point. So Johnny was supposed to stay back at his job, because we didn't know how this will go. And if he leaves his job and comes, he also needs to pay his loan. So do we have even enough money to pay 2 of us rent? You get us and the people we've contracted to work with us now. So he was supposed to stay back for like 6 months. I was supposed to stay now at the clinic, get a salary from the clinic. Him gets a salary from where he was working. We just tried to settle this clinic. He comes a few days. In the first month, I am overwhelmed. I tell him, my guy, achana your job. we are on demand.
The time is now.
The second month, he just comes in and we start seeing patients every month. 100 patients. By the 4th, 5th month, we only had 2 dental clinics and we were overwhelmed. So we even set the 3rd one now.
Oh, nice. The same space.
The same space.
The extra 50.
The extra 500. It came in handy. So we set up and we even brought another dentist now.
Oh, nice.
So social media really changed everything. So now what happened for us is that, because I can see it works. No one taught me in dental school how social media works. There are guys who know how social media works. And if you don't need to be proud, you just need to go ask for their help. This is what I have. Can you work with this? So we brought in people who know what content they want us to create, people who know which ads we are supposed to run, people who know when we are supposed to post what and what. So we gathered a whole team, a whole social media team, and that has really propelled us further and further. Yeah.
What do you think? Because I know part of the hesitation with in your previous job, I know part of your hesitation with your previous bosses was that their ethical issues around social media marketing, and I think that has been part of the biggest problem. And if I remember right, just a couple of years ago is when doctors were quote unquote allowed to do marketing. Now, what do you think? Like, what those ethical lines are, and how do you remain within those limits? Because it's a very narrow line.
I usually say if you're a doctor on social media, you just practice human decency. You know what to post. You ask for consent if you really have to post that. You don't post that for show off. You're actually posting that to educate people. And while you're educating people, you're going to get clients. So if you toe that line, you are totally okay. Yeah, so always ask for consent from your patient. When you're posting online, don't let it come as if you're bragging or as if you're doing these things. You're doing this because you want the public to know. I want to post about dental fluorosis because probably even you and you, doc, don't know about dental fluorosis.
That's true.
You get? But there's a client here, a 6-year-old here, who's come with brown teeth. I'm going to help a mother somewhere who does no idea that taking water from a borehole that's not defluoridated can cause dental fluorosis. So you get, even if it's marketing, I'm teaching as well. You get, that's the thing. I'm just not posting there to show that I can be the best dentist in the world. Yeah, so you try to impact society, and they will also receive it as that. This is not show off, he's not doing what, he's teaching us, and so let's go to him as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I find I like the way how you built out the business, because you see, as you're talking, it may sound like it was a huge, maybe not necessarily calculated risk, but it wasn't, because you had done things a bit differently, because you had been on the socials and proved that this thing can work.
Yes.
I have the numbers here, the analytics.
For sure.
It is just about now converting what I see digitally into a brick and mortar clinic kind of concept.
For sure.
And you had the numbers backing. And I don't think we do that a lot in healthcare. Or at least previously it was, let's just open a clinic, we see what happens.
Can happen,
You know, the patients will come. Imagine they don't
They don't
always just come.
unasoma
That's
gazeti hapo ndani.
And then there's a clinic every corner. You know, that's the thing.
So what
Zamani
makes
there
you
used to be
different?
one or two,
Yeah.
What makes us different now?
Yeah.
So when you open the practice, first of all, do you want me to talk about the marketing aspect of it, or how we now run the practice?
Talk about both.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to get into a different part of the two things, but just go with.
Yeah, and actually, just to add on to that, the other thing I wanted to understand is, first of all, what's the name of your clinic?
Yeah.
And then why?
Okay.
Yeah.
We can start with the name, yeah? So we are called the Dental Spa. So when we were looking for a clinic name, we wanted something catchy. Again, you're selling on social media, so you want something catchy. So we looked for names. And then we ended up with the Dental Spa. It's very catchy. It doesn't sound like a clinic, sounds like a spa. You want to come and relax. Again, now the name and the aesthetics had too much. So like when you come, you feel like you've come to a spa, you are relaxed. You know, a lot of people have dental anxiety, mad dental anxiety. You do, I also do. So a lot of people have mad dental anxiety. So the thing is, we just wanted you to feel at home. So the aesthetics of the clinic is to make you feel very comfortable. The people who receive you front desk, they do a really good job. We've made sure, invested in them getting training, so they are very good in customer relations. So when you come to the clinic, you feel very nice. That's why we went with the Dental Spa, and then we ensured that it actually looks like a spa. That's why it started. So in the clinic now, we try, like I always tell my staff, and me and Johnny always tell them, you cannot afford to have a bad day. You can have a bad day, everyone can have a bad day, but you leave the bad day outside, because I also leave my bad day outside. I'll not shout at you when you are seeing a patient, but you need to do the right thing. You understand? You will not shout at the patient as well. We see problematic patients, and especially the middle class in Nairobi. I don't know what has happened to them. They're really problematic. Very problematic. So even if they push your buttons, you just remain as calm as possible. Because again, it comes easy on social media when you do it right, but then it goes easy. It will go away easily as well. It's just one bad review. Just one bad review on social media, and all the work that you have done goes just like that. Yeah. Once someone calls on your credibility and you market on social media, it's going to be really tough for you to come back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess there's the risk and the reward towards being on both, social media. So if you're gonna take everything good that comes from it, you also kind of have to be
Ready.
to factor in the bad stuff about it.
Yeah.
From your own perspective,
this
this may sound like a very super philosophical question, but it's not that deep.
Yeah.
There's NAF, the brand,
Yeah.
all right, and then there's the Dental Spa,
Yeah.
the clinic.
Yeah.
Do you see the dental spa being a department within NAF, or is NAF a department within the dental spa?
Yeah.
I'm speaking from a business point of view.
Yeah.
Like, do you regard the two different business entities, or one and the same thing?
So when we were starting,
Yeah.
we fully relied on my numbers on social media, and that was an important stepping stone.
Yeah.
But now, if I keep on marketing as me alone, I will not be able to see the patients alone. Say, for example, now we are April 10th today, I think. My next available appointment is May 10th. You understand? And even if you keep on marketing, I cannot cut myself into two. So now we started changing the narrative to now the dental spa is actually the dental spa, and I work at the dental spa. And if you come, you can be seen by all the doctors at the dental spa. And we try to make that clear. So that at one day, even if I decide to take a sabbatical, the dental spa will run. And how have we done this? Because we are a social media clinic, every person we hire, even Johnny was very social media shy. Very, very. I used to tell him, you cannot afford to be that. You have to step out of your comfort zone the way we did when we opened the clinic. So show your face more. You don't have to be as loud, but let them know that at the dental spa, there's someone called Johnny who works there. There's someone called Dr. Claire who works there. There's someone called Dr. Aisha who works there. So that anyone else can come and see any of those doctors. Personally, I want to grow my brand as well as Dr. Naphtali Macharia. Not associated with the dental spa, like me. I want to grow that brand and see what it can do for me personally. But I want the dental spa to also grow on itself, so that one day I can even retire. That if I even go play golf, and the clinic and the clinic still runs. I don't have to always be there, because I also get tired of always going on my phone and speaking on stories every time and posting content every time. Like, I also want to just sit down and get on TikTok and scroll. I used to be a consumer of TikTok a few months ago or a few years ago. Now I just create and go. Like, I don't even know what's happening on TikTok anymore. And that's because there's no time for that really. Because I finish, I have to go on my phone, I have to reply to these DMs, I have to interact to comments, to keep on pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. There's also a way that I do it that even if I get a social media manager, he or she won't be able to do it properly. But again, now I want the clinic to also get its own team, and that we have a team for it to just push the brand. I don't even know the password of the clinic's page. I was like, I'm not going to do the clinic and I'm not going to do my page. So the clinic can be run by someone, so that can become a different entity.
Great. So from what I gather, again, the advice for you is that fine, you can start the social media journey by yourself. But it gets to a point where
it's not sustainable.
You have to hire.
You have to hire.
I think we're seeing a lot more of that. I think you're one of the pioneers, if I say so myself, who started this social media marketing for doctors.
I used to follow you when I was in uni.
Oh yeah? I hope Meskia. But I think you are part of the pioneers on social media or marketing medicine on social media. One of the ideas perhaps I would give you is actually creating a course around that. Because you have the knowledge. You have the knowledge and this information that you're giving out, and which is the goal that JP and I are trying to achieve. Get this knowledge out there. You have the knowledge on how to set up your healthcare associated social media marketing. So probably just get someone to help you with curation of the content and the course. And actually, I'm telling you, there are people who are willing. I know I'm willing to pay to actually understand that course. One of the questions that I would have for you is, what would you tell what are the mistakes you made while starting out that you look back now? When you're starting out the dental spa, what are some of the mistakes that you made that right now you feel like you'd have done differently?
So when we were starting out, we had zero knowledge on finances. It was basically, itatuletea pesa, tunafaa kulipa accountant hii pesa, tunafaa kulipa social media hii pesa. What do you do with the rest? How do you control your expenditure? How do you do all these things? Again, it's not taught in school. So maybe we could enroll in a financial course, even those ones for a week, or at least get a financial advisor, or go to someone who has set up a clinic. Get a mentor who can actually tell you. You know, guys keep information. That's the thing. No one really wants to tell you, this is how much money I make, and this is how we try to control our whatever. Everyone is just a man-eat-man society. So, in retrospect, I would have gotten more financial advice. Maybe it's a car I want to buy, a GLC 250. Maybe by now we would have bought the car. if we knew how to actually use our finances properly and control them. That's the only one mistake, yeah. But along the way, we've gotten people to advise us properly, how to reduce on cost, to do this and this and that, yeah. That's the one thing, yeah. And especially people in healthcare, because in school they don't teach healthcare finance at all. You don't even know where to get money to start a clinic. You don't even know like how much rent you're supposed to be paying. Is it too much for a clinic? It's not taught at all anywhere. So that's the only thing that we should have done. Yeah, we should have gotten someone to advise us more and more. Yeah.
On the flip side, apart from social media, which you have completely figured out, I think.
Yeah.
What other thing do you think you did right?
The clinic, I remained authentic. I carried the virtues that my mom has taught me. We used to stay in a very small house in Kijabi. My mom would welcome everyone to the house. Everyone has someone admitted at Kijabi. They'd be like, enda kwa mama Washira, atakushughulikia. My mom would welcome strangers to our house, like people our friends know of, but we don't even know them. So that's the thing. Authentic and remain kind. Like, I treat my patients really well. I treat people who work for us really well. Everyone, from the rider who takes our documents to get signed, everyone feels like it's a home for them. That's the one thing that I know has really pushed. Yeah, and kindness is really paid in kindness 100-fold. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right.
There's one other important thing about you that I feel sometimes might get lost a little bit.
Yeah.
But you did a fellowship in implantology.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you do? How long was it? Did you do it?
It was a 9-month course.
9-month course.
Just in Nairobi, there's a dentist who set up a college. I can call it a college, and they are offering these courses that would have been very expensive if you go to train out there. Dentistry, unlike medicine, it's a bit easier for us to navigate. Like for docking plastics, you really have to do that 5-year course. It's 5 years. In dentistry, you can do a 6-month course on something, like an implantology course, like maybe a braces course, maybe soft tissue management course or something of the sort. So when I was still working at the other clinic, I went back to school and did implantology. That's how I became a dental implant surgeon. So the implantology basically is replacing teeth with titanium analog that acts as the root and then a ceramic crown on top. So me and Johnny knew that if we're going to open a practice, we're not going to open a practice and just clean teeth. It was not going to be beneficial at all. It will not make any money and it will not sustain us. So we needed to do specialized dentistry. So he went back to the same college I did. All these things we were planning, actually before tufungue clinic, we are like, tuongeze knowledge. Ili lesi tutafungua clinic, we are not referring patients out. We wanted to be a one-stop dental clinic. That when you walk into our clinic, we can do literally everything for you. And if not, we are going to bring in someone to do it for you. We will not send outside. So I did my implantology course. Johnny did his course on braces and root canals. And that's how now we are able to see almost every single case that comes to our clinic. If we need specialized treatment, we rarely refer. We bring the specialist to the clinic. Yeah,
that's smart.
Yeah, because now that money, it needs to stay in the clinic. That's the thing. Yeah,
interesting. So it was a business move, the fellowship, which is quite impressive.
Yeah.
As we wrap up, where do you see the dental spa and Naphtali Macharia in 10 years?
In 10 years' time, we want to have opened 10-unit dental. 10 years is actually far. In the next 5 years, we want to open a 10-unit dental clinic and have like 15 dentists rotating the floor. even if it can be bigger, the better. But that's the next goal that we have. We also want to open like an executive spa. Just me and Johnny just work there, just reduce on the number of patients that we see. See 3-4 patients in a day. So we'll have our own executive lounge, and then the dental spa will grow to 10-15 units, whatever number is possible. And then we'll mentor so many young people and give employment to so many young people and train so many young people to take up jobs at our clinic and not even leave, stay there, grow themselves, pay them well.
Okay. You forgot to mention the GLC 250.
By the end of this year. Growing up, I didn't have a toy. We couldn't really afford these things. So I always tell Johnny and all my friends that mi sikuwa na toys, mi nilikuwa na tu majirani wakiendesha bike. All I had to do was just study, and I didn't see the impact back then. But when I went to high school, I was like, oh, okay, culture shock. Oh, you guys can afford this, you guys can afford this. So I said, the moment that I'll buy the latest iPhone that comes out, and no one will ever tell me I'm wasting money. I'll buy the best Mercedes I can afford at that point, because we just live once. We only live once. And you're not a bad person by buying the latest iPhone or buying the latest Mercedes.
Asante sana.
Thank you so much.
And we'll hold you to that. We have it recorded in 4K.
December. GLC 250.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Naf. It's impressive what you're doing, what you've done so far, and what you're about to do. You're an inspiration to a lot of people who are out there, young and old, and we only can wish you the absolute best and Godspeed on your journeys.
Thank you.
May all your dreams be fulfilled.
Amen.
Thank
you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and that wraps up this episode of the Business of Medicine podcast. Please share this with anyone you can. Like, follow, subscribe on all our social media pages, and tune in for the next episode. We have a lot of really amazing guests from the healthcare space coming up, and we cannot wait to tell you all these stories. Thank you, and see you.